Friends, on a chilly spring day out at the barn, looking over at the land that is soon to be our village, welcoming you to a little tour of what the village could look like from a at least bird's eye point of view, and a little bit about the planning process that has gone into this, which is our current mock-up and layout of what the village could look like. We have, the basis of it is a sketch of the road to get oriented when you enter the land, coming down the hill and out into the, when you first see the fields, is basically right here. So the road that you follow driving in goes along the north side of the property. So imagine yourself coming along here. If you are, if you've been to the pavilion in the center of, and the large tree at the center of the green, that would be actually right here in this layout. So the path, the road behind the property and parking periodically along the side, and then a larger parking area here is the vehicular traffic part, and then this path there, which does have to be constructed to road standards in order to support emergency vehicles, fire trucks, and ambulances, but otherwise is purely a walking path, but that runs along this part on contour on the south into the property in this kind of very curved way that follows contour, basically. So those paths shape the outline of the village, or the layout overall. And then over here, where the road continues a bit, if you think of where the barn is, it's basically about here. And so the farm area starts on this side of things, and underneath this laptop here is the garden. So just roughly in terms of how the pieces all lay out, this is the common house. Well, it's what we thought the common house might look like 2 years ago when I made these blocks. But anyway, roughly this kind of shape, and two wings with a center area we're now calling the salon, a large area for dining, multi-purpose use, and then a wing with guest rooms and other laundry and other facilities there. But the point I'm making at the moment is the dining area and the area for meetings and such opens out into a little green here on the inside of the path, and then it opens out to let's move these bushes a little, opens out to quite a large green on the outside of the inner path here, down to the edge of the garden, and there'll be a little water feature there, which is a rain garden basically for bringing in water runoff when we have it. So that's the common house, and then around the common house on this, and in general on the path that runs through the core of the village, houses on both sides. The different color and different shapes are different types of houses. We have on the website a listing of the different types of living options and structures, so you could find them there. Also, the site plan will be posted very shortly on the website. But anyway, these are the larger structures are duplex townhouses. Those, for the most part, on the north side, the higher part, the larger structures. And then as the land slopes down toward the south, also the size and structures become smaller in one story as we go. So these are two-bedroom, one-story houses with a clear story over the living part here. And then these, the kind of sister red structures, are those same structures with an attached studio apartment. So there are a fair number of both of those. The blue ones are, let's start with this, is a 3-bedroom upstairs, downstairs living area type structure, very compact 3-bedroom upstairs, and they can also have an attached studio apartment. These are the dual suite houses, that's the silver ones, and I guess that's it. So the different types, we've spent quite a lot of time trying to figure out how these will lay out onto the land, how they relate to each other, what kinds of spaces they create between the structures. So this is, for example, a small little green that a number of houses face. Path passes by on one side. There's another kind of space here like that. So we're trying to attend to the, not just the structures and how they relate to the land broadly speaking, but also how they relate to each other in these small little clusters. When you enter, you notice these two larger, so these are duplexes again, and they're 2 stories, and there's 2 side by side. So you're entering a couple of large structures that make a fairly small gate. so it's a sense of entering something. And then when you come through, this is the kind of thing you see when you have blocks, in 3 dimensions again. When you come through, then you come into this more open space that has several also one-story structures and a more of an openness. So you pass through a sort of narrow opening into this larger expanse, and then again it contracts. It's a little bit of a pulse. Then it contracts through here, and then again there's a larger space, and then there's a different character of space here on the common house. Meantime, there's a flow along the whole course of this path here with house, which but fairly close together, but they can allow for gardens and trellises and fencing, and so there's both a closeness and a sense of privacy that can be maintained, and a sense of continuity and flow in the overall layout. And it's just built for walking speed again, so that it's quite textured and quite specific. It's not something you just dash through. So that continues all the way around to here, and then if you are continuing that way, you out into the woods and the garden from there. Or the other point I wanted to make is so there's parking. There will be traffic, cars coming in and parking along the north side of the village. But we have here then, when you begin to move into the village, along the north side, almost all of the larger structures. So these are 2 stories, these are 2 stories. There's one 2-story here, and there's one here. But that's it. Otherwise, all the 2 stories are along the north side. So there's a sense of both a little bit of a passing into something again from a bit of the outside, the parking, and then there are trees kind of buffering that, and then there's this first row of houses. And that creates a sense of closure or protection for the spaces that are really quite close here, but they feel, by the time you've transitioned here, they feel quite distinctive and also south-facing pretty much, because these are higher. The ground is sloping down this way anyway a little bit, and then these are all 1-story structures. So the overall orientation of the village is to the south, to the downslope, to the woods which lie beyond, and the gardens and fields which lie beyond. So there's a deliberateness about how this is laid out, and the feelings that we're trying to evoke by this particular way of positioning the houses and which houses go where. That's some of the thinking behind this plan. Maybe I should stop there.